I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
We asked Saskatchewan what they know about 5G.
More speed, more innovation.
It's going to make our lives a whole heck of a lot easier.
This is what 5G looks like.
Better, faster.
Sounds like one more G. Sounds pretty good.
I don't know what it means.
All you really need to know is the future of 5G is here and will continue improving through investments in network technology.
Welcome to the RBC Dominion Securities Western Canadian Showdown. We're very proud to sponsor this event for our community and surrounding area. We wish everyone good curling and best of luck.
Good evening and welcome once again to Curling Stadium's coverage of the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown. My name is Jim Nix and I'm joined this evening by David Wills, and we are live from Swift Current Curling Club in Swift Current, Saskatchewan. Welcome, David.
Hi there, Jim. Great to be here. This looks like it should be a really great game.
Yeah, a very different game. I think we have two teams that are both teams seem pretty young, but Satsuki Fujisawa has been around for a long time now and at a very high level.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kayla MacMillan's just kind of the opposite, just kind of getting to this level.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. And Team Fujisawa is they're veterans and very, very wily curlers. When they're on their game, they'll be a tough match. But the youngsters aren't afraid of anything, which is nice to see. They had a really solid game earlier in the tournament, where they really had good control with control of the second half of the game. So I think we're in for a good one.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. It's both teams seem to handle their first games pretty easily by the looks of the scores when they had advanced earlier. And
so we're up to the tail end of the lead rocks here, with Team MacMillan holding the hammer, and it looks as if we're just playing in the house this end, where we're hitting each other and trying to stick around. The rocks are working their way back in the house, so before long we may end up seeing things on the back corners. We'll have to see how this goes.
Sure, it's we were discussing earlier, because our game earlier today was just the exact opposite. Teams were great at it right off the bat, but this is a little bit more of a traditional first end for most teams and mostly bonspiels, and a lot of hits. And MacMillan having hammer here in the first end.
Right.
Would never be against blanking this end. That's always seems to be a strategy that people at least think about for a little while in this first end.
This one's over curling. Yeah, just curled too much. So we've got our first little mistake, and an opportunity here for Team MacMillan to make life difficult. Well, sorry, not make life difficult. They've got hammers, so
yeah, trying to set up a potential deuce here. Kind of just a wide open way, but it's a long ways to go. Certainly in the first end, to be going 2 rocks in the house and hope you'll make that count at the end of the end. That's difficult, but sometimes it works.
Yeah, Team Fujisawa is so accomplished. It's interesting when they do have little problems here and there. You kind of shake your head and think, I wonder what's going on with the ice or something, because very rarely do they have over curls, and it is the first end, so I guess there's always some surprises.
Yeah, both these teams, having played a game, should at least have a handle a little bit on what's going on out here, but obviously wouldn't have been on the same sheet, so
yeah, exactly.
Always be a little different.
Well, this rock is working hard out to the wing already. Wow.
I think she was actually setting up the corner guard there. I thought she might be going right in, but she wasn't. She was just setting up a corner, recognizing the same thing we talked about. It's hard to go 6 rocks without a miss somewhere that negates your possible deuce.
Right. Well, here we're going to have another shot at hitting this, and I don't know if there's any roll work. Maybe better off just to stay away from the guard and force Team MacMillan to just stay on the other side of the ice.
Yumi Suzuki, second stone for Fujisawa.
Very nice. So we're going to draw. So the offense is starting. And,
yeah, they fooled me a little bit. I thought just those first couple shots, it looked like they would probably not go this route, but good to see.
We ended up with the guard, and whether or not we meant to, this is the offensive option right now. So let's just see how they do. Hard to be shot rock and behind the guard, so we'll have to see where they end up.
Lindsay Debu. Not sure if I got that pronunciation right, but second stone here for MacMillan, coming around the corner.
Lots of curl, but this is coming up short. Wow.
Short. Yeah, there is lots of curl. We were here last week as well for an event last weekend, and it was it had curl, but it had a little bit softer curl. And this weekend, it looks like maybe they did a little work on rocks this week, and they are much harder finish this weekend, which is good, which is fun. Certainly more fun to watch, and probably more fun to play most of the time.
Yeah, it makes you wonder about the curling club if they've constantly got these events happening. When do the club curlers ever get a chance to play? Hopefully they're getting, getting out somewhere.
Yeah, I thought that about Beaumont earlier this year. We had quite a few events in Beaumont, and they just have a lot of weekend events. So
yeah. No, it's always great to see, especially if you've got a nice facility where you can welcome people to come in and watch. The ice is good. There's room for all the different teams in a large size event. This is a no small affair, this, with all the number of teams that are playing in an event like this. So this is terrific.
Yeah, interesting call there for Fujisawa. You're looking to throw guard, but not guard necessarily the rock at the back, recognizing that's probably not going to be a counter, but I almost would have expected him to be on that side. But this is probably a better option, to be honest.
Yeah, I had a thought about whether she might try to bring it to the point where it's actually touching the house, just because that means there's 2 counters rather than 1.
Yeah.
But it's come up short, which is fine. The hit and roll is now available, but it looks as if this is going to hit the nose dead on. Yeah.
Third Daniels, third for Kayla MacMillan. Solid player. Everybody's a solid player at this level. It's not you watch them out and you just see delivery after delivery after delivery. That's textbook. So well.
Here we go. So now
Yoshida sorting out what weight to throw.
Kitmami, yeah, she's these faces are very familiar. We've seen these girls playing in the Olympics. We've seen them at the Worlds. Interestingly, I was present at the last 2 Pan-Continentals. These ladies represented Japan last time, but this year it was a different team.
Yeah.
Which I take to mean that there was a national championship and they defeated them, but I'm not even 100% sure if that's the case.
This one's got to curl a bunch. Yeah, I'm not sure either, but
there's going to be a roll, and I think it's going to stick around. Let's be optimistic. There you go. Behind the guard, sort of.
Good shots. The rocks aren't overly lively here. They just they're fine, but they don't go quite as hard as they do in some situations that you see. Good spot for Kayla MacMillan now, though, with that one at the back there. She can come around the corner and sit on that one if she wants to.
Terrific opportunity to come down and freeze, or even draw just a little bit under the guard. As long as she's shot rock, should be in great shape. And the sweepers are already going crazy, so it looks as if she's dropped her weight down a little bit. They were getting fooled a little bit in this first end.
I think they're going to get there.
Yep.
They're looking for shot rock. Great sweeping. They actually took it probably, I think, maybe couple feet further than they should have.
Yeah. It's turned out well. I think they were paranoid because everything's been dying on them, especially on that side. Both of those rocks up in front of the house could have been much closer.
So good start for Sarah Daniels. She makes one nose hit and one nice come around the corner. 2 for 2 and end number 1. Always a good thing.
Now, an opportunity, interestingly, for Team Fujisawa to follow the rock they just saw and come down and sit on the corner of that red rock, or even bump it a little. But it looks like they're thinking about coming around the center guard. I guess either way, they have to make sure they're shot rock by the end of this particular shot. Based on that broom, they're coming around the center and hopefully burying right dead behind this nice yellow guard in the center. Interesting.
Yeah, it is because there's enough curl here that I'm not sure that she can make this good enough that Kayla MacMillan won't be able to get it out.
It's going to be it's a tricky shot. I think also given the struggles they've had with weight in this first end, but
Sure.
we'll watch and see. This is not an easy shot.
No. Satsuki Fujisawa, skip of this team, with their first shot of the game. In turn, come around. It will bust once it gets to that hog line. It does break pretty hard.
There it goes. Keep it in front of the tee line if they can. Oh, they're going right back. That's quite a nice effort right there.
I'll tell you, the concept of sweeping, it usually goes to power, getting your head over the broom and all that kind of, or over the rock and all of that kind of stuff, and getting all your body weight over the head of the broom as well. And these two probably have the lightest combined body weight of any front end in the world, and they still are probably two of the best sweeping front ends in the world. So
well, yeah, I mean, sweeping is a combination of technique and smarts. So I often say there's good sweepers and there's smart sweepers. Hopefully you're both, but these two are really brilliant in terms of how and when they apply their efforts. And then yes, they're not as heavy as some other curlers, but technically they're very, very strong. And don't underestimate the power in those shoulders. They may be tiny, but they put in some work, and boy, they can help a rock travel when they need to. So, all right, so we're going to try and come down. I suppose sit on the face or even bump this shot rock that's now snuggled on the edge of the button.
Yeah, I think she'll be playing the bump here. So, Kayla MacMillan with her first rock in the first end. In turn, probably somewhere around backline weight, maybe a hair more than that, but certainly not a lot of weight. And it's got to curl a bunch, but as we said a minute ago, it will break in here.
As long as it's going to get to the yellow, I think it will. And this looks like it could. She's rolled out into the open a little bit, leaving a nose tap or even a hit and roll.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those that if you're not gonna be sat right on it, it would have been nice to bump that one out at least. But so Fujisawa now will play a in-turn hit, just a hit and a little bit of a roll.
And a chance to really take a stranglehold on this position. I think it's interesting where it was starting to look like Team MacMillan was taking a little bit of a strong position, and now Team Fujisawa can make a nice shot here. They can really put some pressure early in the game.
Yeah, for sure. One thing I can tell you is when the shot's over, you won't know if you just go by facial expressions. You won't know if the Japanese squad made it or missed it or whatever, because they are the happiest team in the circuit.
Poker face.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Well, I'm lucky enough to have spent some time living in Japan, and one of the things I marvel at with their athletes is they are very, very stoic. Their expression is never let your expression give away how you're feeling.
Right.
And so they tend to hide things. Inside, they're going a mile a minute, but their faces may not show you. So that was not a bad shot. It does leave a double.
Yeah.
Double for 2, or just a straight nose hit will get you 1.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to take a run at the double. If they make the double, I think it's an accident because it's not it's just they just don't line up great
Yeah.
to be able to make that double, and it's a little bit steep.
True. I was thinking the in-off, but I suppose you're right. It's probably not worth the risk given the state of the game. A simple one and a good force for Team Fujisawa.
Yeah.
Kayla is all set. Yeah, looking at these three girls on screen, their combined height compared to the Japanese girls, it's really
different.
Yes, I'm going to say there's a huge height and weight advantage.
So Kayla MacMillan with a normal weight takeout here, somewhere in that range of 9.5 probably would be about normal for these guys. Maybe a little less than that, but let's see how we get along. This one's got to curl a little bit.
She brought her weight up
a little bit. And there, it's probably going to roll out here.
Yeah.
And she will. And we'll have a steal of one here. And end number one for Fujisawa over Kayla MacMillan. 1-0 after one. We'll be back right after the break.
So with the impact to my business and income, will this delay my retirement?
I know you're worried, Marshall, but based on the original plan we came up with, you're only about 6 months behind.
I thought it would be years, not months.
You should feel good. Remember, you've got a plan.
Thanks.
With change comes questions. See the impact of your money decisions before you make them with RBC Wealth Plan.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's Ice Bat has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best brew in the game. Hardline. Join the revolution.
Stronger agronomics, better returns, greater peace of mind from pre-seed to post-harvest. You can count on the Victory Canola program to keep
So we're back for end number two. MacMillan retaining hammer again, as she did give up the steal in the first end of 1 point. Quick thank you to Cody on the chat for correcting my pronunciation of Second Stone Debay. Appreciate that.
Well, interestingly, not curling as much as they expected here. That one was supposed to dive underneath the guard, I have a feeling. But anyway, now we have a chance for some hit and rolls. We may be exchanging shots again as we did last end. This time with a guard.
Lead Eureka Yoshida.
Yeah, these two, the lead and the vice, are sisters. And I don't know which one of them is older, and I have never dared to guess.
No.
But an awful lot of family situations where people are involved in curling, either as curlers or administrators or fans. You tend to find that when you go over and work in the Japanese clubs and see their Japanese teams playing. But it's great to see their energy and their focus level is terrific. And here's our lead, Sarah.
Sarah Loken. He has to make the little hit and roll.
It's all about getting our lines right. The last end was definitely a challenge for getting comfortable with the ice and the lines. especially when we're throwing a little bit of weight. There you have a slight roll, half buried.
Pretty good shot.
I noticed that Satsuki has pink gloves on. I don't know if this is, I'm going to say maybe it's a team thing because you'll often see that, but there's only one pair of pink gloves out there.
So Fujisawa playing the run back on her own stone here. If you're wondering about the takeout before the 6th rock at the end. So it's going to overcurl, going to let it go.
There you go, your own rock, so you're okay.
Yeah. So MacMillan going back with the corner guard. This is sort of the strategy she used last time when she was had one in the house. She still threw up the corner. She's going to do that again.
Just have to make sure it pays off this time because we have that one really nice come around into the center, and we took all of the action away from the corner guard. So we really have to make sure we make the most of this. Looks like the weight's pretty nice. Sit. Alrighty, a chance for a double.
Yeah, you will have to throw it hard.
That's right.
These guys can usually throw it hard. So you probably a lot more hand signals from the Asian teams than you do from the Canadian teams as well, particularly in terms of like draw weight and zones for guards and everything. You see that the thrower tends to follow, or has tended to follow the rock down and indicate what she thinks the weight is all the way down. It's kind of interesting that way.
Yeah, there's a lot of conversations and a lot of traditional beautiful shot in off across. Not going to get all the way out, but still a lovely effort.
Yeah, very good try.
They do use the number system originally developed by Randy Furby and his crew. So if you know your Japanese numbers, you'll hear them yelling 3, 4, 6, 8, whatever number it is. But the zone system is definitely in use, and they're very traditional that way. A lot of the old systems that we learned, like signals for what was hack or what was peel, you'll start to see them using them.
This one's a long ways out.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of hand, a lot of rotation. I'm not sure she's going to get this back to the rock. So definite missed opportunity here halfway through the end. Should have been able to hit that and stay anywhere on that side of the sheet. She was looking good for a 2.
Mm-hmm. Now just a hit and stick. An attempt to force at the very least.
So Shinami Yoshida, 3rd stone. Must be a little colder out there or she's finding a little colder out there. Seems to have a little heavier jacket on than the rest of the team.
Yeah, I don't know this facility very well. I haven't had the pleasure of curling in Saskatchewan. I've been in Saskatchewan rinks, but never played. I was there as a coach, but I didn't find them overly cold. So maybe she'll warm up. The skips is a different story. They look like they're both wearing heavy coats, but maybe it is a little bit chilly in these, especially with the weather as it's turned in a lot of parts of our country right now. So we had an awfully cold day here where I live, so it's really not a surprise to see them warmly dressed.
We're 11 degrees here today, so we're not too bad, but it has been cold for a few days. We haven't had any snow yet, so which we wouldn't normally yet.
Well, in Northern Ontario, it got down to about minus 25 earlier in the day. And,
wow.
So we definitely had a bit of a snap. And even in my part of the world, which is closer to the lake, it's definitely cold. Much colder now. Apparently, it's only going to last a day or two, and then it's going to go back to quote-unquote normal. So
hard rock there for Sarah Daniels.
Yep. And now we're an empty house.
She's looking to put this one probably just on the 4-foot. A little late in the end to go with the guard, so I'm sure that she's going to try to play this in the rings. Girls working hard. Not sure if they're going to get there, though.
No. Okay.
Certainly a break for MacMillan. It's kind of where she was trying to throw the last shot when they hopped. So Daniels now will play the come around the yellow guard.
And we're all set. This is the first time down the ice in this direction, so hopefully before too long they'll be comfortable with the weight. This needs to curl an awful lot.
And I'm not sure how much they break across the center. I haven't figured. Just trying to get over there. She's been a hair lighter. She probably would have got exactly what she was looking for.
Now the question will be, are we going to try to dive under and stay on the tee line, or will we go after that red rock and make sure?
No, I think you have to go after the red rock with, you don't have hammer here. I think you've got to play the hit, maybe a little bit down on weight, although probably even normal weight works here for Satsuki.
I was trying to figure out if these teams have been doing other events over the past month or so. This is the first time I've seen the Japanese girls, this particular Japanese team, but I haven't been checking every single event, so I'm not sure. Are you aware if they've been playing in any of the other?
Well, I'm pretty sure they would have been in the recent Grand Slam that was held in Newfoundland. I would think that they would have been. I'm not 100% sure either, but I think they've been pretty active. They usually are.
Absolutely.
So good looking shot here. Almost going to get a roll. Just roll away a little bit.
Yeah, it's nice for the teams from far off. I mean, if I'm thinking a little bit about the European countries as well, where if they can come and play 2 or 3 events that aren't too far apart in Canada and relatively close proximity to each other time-wise, then they get a few extra things in before they have to endure the cost of the flight back home again. So we are pushing into December now, where there will be a little bit of downtime, I think, at least until after Christmas, and then I guess we fire right back up again as we're coming into the new year. So I wondered about that a little bit.
Yeah, they do have a schedule that's pretty. Certainly, the Asian teams have a schedule that's pretty near year round. A couple from Korea that we had in Bonsville a couple weeks ago were playing their first event of technically the first event of their season this year was in June.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they play. I know for sure. I don't know that it's the same in Japan, but certainly the Koreans literally play year round. There's no really off season in curling. In fact, their national championships are played midsummer.
Yeah.
Which to me is just remarkable. I mean, we've shortened our off season in Canada a lot, but it's still don't. I still think we have at least a little chunk of time where we can safely say, this is the time when the curlers are, doing off ice training. And
I think you're definitely right. Yeah.
Switching gears. Yeah. And the Scots start in July, so they kind of. Their idea was they would give them about a 1-month jump on everybody else who started in August. But you also have to be in a climate where it's not enormously taxing on the building systems to keep the ice in good shape. If it's really, really hot outside, it's really challenging. All righty. Everybody's trying to hit and roll. Last shot for Satsuki. She's throwing another attempt to hit and roll.
I've thrown an abundance of weight here. I have to work this. She looked like she moved it out a little bit on the release. So. It's that fair bit now with all these teams playing on conditions that usually have a lot of curl. There's a lot of there's quite frequently a lot of motion towards the outside if on your release. Just
Setting the rock to make
setting it out a
sure.
little bit,
Yeah, absolutely. It's very common.
And most of the curling clubs that we've done this year out here in Saskatchewan, Alberta, and BC, we've done a number of clubs. Virtually all have similar ice conditions in that they mimic the arena conditions that we see on TV with the slabs and stuff quite closely. I'm sure it's not exactly the same, but it is quite closely. They have lots of curl, and it's usually a quick finish, hard finish.
Yeah, no, they've as usual, they've done a great job, and it's nice to see the consistency from facility to facility. It used to be, I think, a lot more common for people to have to really make big adjustments when they changed locations, and now we're seeing, the ice makers working in a much more harmonious way and making sure that it's not too different from one place to the next. So it's usually more of an adjustment relative to the weather than it is to the actual ice.
So MacMillan makes the hit and roll out here to blank this end, and we will move to the third end with the score remaining 1-0 for Fujisawa over MacMillan.
We asked Saskatchewan what they know about 5G.
More speed, more innovation.
It's going to make our lives a whole heck of a lot easier.
This is what 5G looks like.
Better, faster.
Sounds like one more G. Sounds pretty good.
I don't know what it means.
All you really need to know is the future of 5G is here and will continue improving through investments in network technology.
Join us this March for the House of Hearts Charity Bonspiel in Duluth, Minnesota. Help raise funds for Project Joy, who provides meals for hungry kids in our community. Every donation helps to ensure no child goes hungry. Join us and make a difference. Together, we can spread joy.
Hey Ben, what's the Aztec Safety online e-learning website again?
Yeah, that would be aztecsafety.com.
Fire extinguisher and firefighting, we'll send that one to Paul.
Now here's a course I should probably take. Conflict resolution.
Power line safety. Yeah, I thought it might help me with my line calls. Did you know this Aztec website has over 100 safety courses?
Jeez. Aztec Safety online course. Ground disturbance. Could have used that a few seconds ago.
So 2 ends down here in our A Division game between Kayla MacMillan and Satsuki Fujisawa. Not too much happening so far, but we do have a 1-0 score in favor of Fujisawa.
That's right. MacMillan, Kayla MacMillan has actually had the hammer in every end so far. So, yeah. We have a very nice centerline guard and then a very nice draw around. So we're away to the races here with a little bit of offense being generated.
Eureka Yoshida trying to play it freeze to the red.
Yeah, bringing rock into the house with nice, very gentle sort of freeze weight. We are really getting down to business at the very beginning of this end. So this should be very interesting to see. There'll be, theoretically, at least a lot of rocks in play here.
Yeah, very nice shot by Yoshida.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah Loken for the Kayla MacMillan team now. Basically try to follow that down.
great to see so much curl in the ice. When a lot of these rocks are coming down, they look like they're an awful lot of curling to do, but then they all finish beautifully. So that one a little bit short on weight, ended up right on the dead center. And now another opportunity for a very aggressive attacking freeze from Team Fujisawa.
Yeah, just not quite the right way to miss that one for MacMillan team, but second stone Yumi Suzuki now, playing the same shot. Girls are going really hard on this.
She may have just not quite kicked as hard as she needed to here. And the rock is coming up short. Oh, the rock, lots of potential.
They took that one a long ways.
Mm-hmm.
So the peel coming from MacMillan now, rock number 6. She can play this peel, hoping to get probably a couple. Hit her red one on the yellow and hopefully pick at least something else out of the house. It's like probably a double the other way. Fortunately, leaves the guard, but so Fujisawa in no hurry to get shot rock here.
Well, she's talking about tapping her own rock. Straight back. Question will be, what kind of weight are they going to play? This will be the discussion. Yeah. You can see the various signals where the arms are going up to the top of the head or to the chest.
So she is playing this with a little bit, or appears to be playing this with a little bit more weight than I thought she might. So she's definitely playing a
So
hit of some form.
we're tapping the shoulder here, so.
Yeah. I don't know what that would mean for weight, but maybe
My guess is normal. But they have the signal for the highest weight on top of their head, so that one's one down from that. So
yeah.
I don't have my stopwatch in my hand. Yeah. This needs to curl.
Yeah, it needs to curl a bunch. Definite missed opportunity for Fujisawa squad. Again, a little bit of a outward motion on release there, and probably a little more than she needed for weight, but it was probably the weight they called. I don't know what their normal weight is, but
Yeah, no, it did seem like normal. I didn't time it, but now we have an interesting opportunity to reply. But strangely, I don't know if that yellow rock can be removed, at least not with one shot.
no, I think this is really probably a tap to set up a little better angle here for them. Right now they don't have an angle. The only angle exists is to make sure Japan had shot rocks. That's much better setup.
Absolutely. Jiggled things around, and actually yellow is still shot, but a little bit more vulnerable now, so there's no backing.
Well, that's right, yeah, because red was sitting practically on the button before, and they cleared it out a little bit.
So we're calling for, I think we're calling for just a plain old draw here. Come down and around and underneath the two at the top of the house, maybe sit top button.
Yeah, top button or even on the back one's not bad here if you don't have hammers. So let's see where she goes. Another rock that does not have a ton of weight. Everybody coming up a little light on these draws here tonight.
Well, Kayla, try to do something about that yellow shot rock, or?
I don't think it would be a bad idea. I think if you do it, though, I think you're going to run the red back.
Yeah. We can,
she's just going to take it off.
Yeah, we can also peel and just open things up.
Yeah, that probably makes the most sense. I think the other way works, but you could leave yourself a little bit less positive situation by trying it and not rolling away. So it's straight peel here for Daniels. Like no trouble with this one. Lots of rotation. You're out there watching and you have trouble with peels. A good idea, if you have trouble especially throwing it hard, is to add some rotation to it and you get a little more action off the target stone.
Just make sure that when you're adding extra spin, you're not throwing it offline.
Exactly, yeah.
I've seen so many times where we've tried to put a little bit of extra rotation on the rock, and in the process we've steered it one way or the other. So
yeah.
Yeah.
So a little team meeting here. It's a bit complicated here, probably more for Fujisawa than it is for MacMillan at the moment.
I think they're talking more about what they think their opponent is going to do than what they're going to do, interestingly. Analyzing, oftentimes in a game situation like this, analyzing what your opponent would like to do or is likely to do is just as important as figuring out what you can do.
Definitely the case.
Not what you make, it's what you leave. See what they do. It'll be interesting. I think they're having trouble deciding which shot they like the best.
I think they're going to play, my prediction is that they will play a hit on the top red. Try to remove that and just roll over into the 8-foot somewhere.
Sure. A little bit of separation between the two yellows.
Yeah.
Take away their chance to make a double. That's the tricky part. Don't leave an easy double takeout to sit 2 and threaten to finally score your deuce.
Well,
okay.
I find the ice call here a bit confusing.
Yeah,
she's going at this much harder than I thought. I was thinking more like a, control weight there, and she will get rid of both of these. That's interesting. I wasn't anticipating that.
No, I'm with you. And now red is shot, and if they have an opportunity to either remove yellow or even just draw and sit 2, it looks as if they're playing the hit.
Yeah, if they can make this and just roll halfway towards the yellow stone there, they would be in a pretty good position.
Yeah, it's a perfectly good call. They just have to make sure that they don't roll somewhere odd and out of the way. They have to be a little bit careful.
Yeah.
That's pretty darn nice right there. That's lovely. So now,
really so really a couple options, right? There's really probably a couple options here.
Well, they can try and I don't think they can run anything back and get both reds, but they could take care of the top one and try and roll over into the house somewhere where they attract the attention of their opponent. Or I guess they could just draw.
Yeah, they certainly could. I think it's that would be by far the most aggressive call, but without hammer, that's a bit risky for sure.
Yeah, it would have to be well hidden. It looks like we're playing a hit and roll, I suppose.
Yeah, I think it's early enough that I'm not surprised that she would play this.
Well, first of the 2 skip rocks for Satsuki Fujisawa. Nice controlled weight, which makes it easier for the. That's a pretty darn good shot. Easier to control and manipulate with your sweeping, and it ended up in a pretty nice place.
Yeah, very well done. Kayla MacMillan thinking about not hitting anything here. And coming right around, I think. Looks like a lot of ice.
She wants to essentially replace the rock that they just removed, provided that it's second shot.
Yeah, second shot and no double. You got to try to make sure you don't set up a double here, but she's tightened it up a little bit, so I think she's probably going to be fine with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'd be nice to see this sort of partially buried, helping to guard the back red, but also making it very difficult to get to the nose so they can't run it straight back.
Yeah.
We'll see how they do. It's all about weight. This is the first of the two for this end from Kayla.
So just looking to like the 4-foot half buried would be about perfect. Brushing
Boy, oh boy.
really hard on this. Just draw weight has just been a struggle for most of the players here tonight. That's just not really even close. I mean, you'd expect it to be at least close on that.
Mm-hmm. And it didn't even seem like the sweepers were working too hard, as if they thought it was going to go farther than it did.
Yeah.
Very odd.
So Fujisawa now with a chance to set up a possible steal with that same shot called basically that Kayla just had, but just a little further. And definitely no worse than a force. If she can make this halfway decent at all, she will set up certainly nothing worse than a force here in the third end.
Mm-hmm. It's a good position. This is the last shot, so she'll have to make sure she makes the most of it. But it's definitely an opportunity for her to do just what you say, to take over control and also make life awfully difficult, to force Kayla MacMillan to try and find a way to manufacture one on her own hammer. Here we go.
There have not been many stones not swept, so I would expect they'll have to sweep this a little bit before they get there. Starting to curl better. Still have to get more than this out of it. And get at least over the face of the red. They will come close. It's probably good enough to secure the force. See Kayla MacMillan just tapping the button there. She didn't really look at trying to do anything more, knowing that she probably can't get across the face of the yellow enough.
Yeah.
Although I would question that. I think that is probably possible, but
well, with the right weight, I mean, you'd have to throw it enough that it will curl, softly enough that it will curl, and yet hard enough that it will bump the yellow back. I think you're right. I think the shot is possible, but I think it's difficult to give it a confident throw. I think she's playing it safe and just saying, okay, I'm going to draw and make sure I get my one.
Yeah, I think you're right. I believe that it would be certainly a shot you'd throw if you had to make it. But for now, she'll be pretty happy to draw and to get one. And she wasn't very close in her first draw, so you wouldn't want to try that other shot and be a little bit heavy and bump your own out possibly.
Mm. So final rock of the end has an awful lot of curling to do. Oh my goodness, is it ever out
going to
there?
be fine. She just has to get over the bit, and she will make this. So a very nice draw by Kayla MacMillan. And she will pick up her single here in the third end. And we are tied at 1 after 3 ends of play here at the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown at the Swift Current Curling Club. We'll be back after this break.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
Saskatchewan, you know Sasktel because we're everywhere. Because being everywhere keeps us connected to you. With Sasktel sponsorships, we get to be part of your community. We're here with you, and we're here for you. It's easy to get started. All you need to do is apply. Sasktel cares. Always has, always will. To apply for sponsorship, visit sastel.com/sponsorships.
So we are locked at 1 here, going to the fourth end. Our game between Kayla MacMillan and Satsuki Fujisawa. Hasn't been a ton of rocks in play, but there has been rocks in play.
We have a little more traditional offensive style here, where we have a center line guard and a corner guard. So this one should be coming in the house, and then unless they're going to try a double guard, but I have a feeling we're going to see this one.
I think that's what the call was, to go in.
Yeah. And then we'll see one come around the corner and the side. Very much by the textbook. Assuming the players all get their weight right, and then the chase is on. This needs some help.
Draw weight has just been a struggle. We just saw one now. Trying to decide if she wants to go around the center or the corner. She's going to go around the center. I think the staggered guards is probably a part of that reason. Very difficult for MacMillan to run one into it.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity when the guards are staggered.
Mijirika Yoshida.
Both sweepers working really hard as if they think the weight's a little low. However, it also needs to curl. We're getting there.
It's a dilemma sometimes with that, but it at least curls to the point where MacMillan won't be able to make an inside roll if she chose to hit it. But she's going to look at playing the freeze. Second stone, Lindsay DeBay. Those sweepers with brooms down, pretty heavy clean. If it stops, it's good, but it looks like it's going to bounce a little bit.
Yeah, no, there is an opportunity for a hit and roll here. There's lots of room. So we have to see if we can get some better success with getting the lines right. Waiting and waiting and waiting for things to curl is just not working out well. We need to get ourselves sorted and get those lines much crisper. Here we go.
Suzuki. My outturn hit and roll.
Yet again, we're looking to get the rock to curl. It just doesn't seem to want to finish. Okay.
Yeah, they also are, certainly very safe with the ice calls. It's just a long way for the rock to move.
Yeah.
So now a double attempt for Lindsay DeBay again. You have to throw a lot of weight on this, just has to hit it in the right spot. And she should be close by the look of that. Real close. Has to hold it a little bit straight. Ooh, I'm not so sure about that sweep call. I have to believe you definitely wanted to make the double on that shot, but
absolutely
never really put a broom to it to hold it straight, and ends up over curling slightly. Anyway, Fujisawa now will look to make the hit and roll inside. Those are going real hard again. This one could have the roll. This could be very, very good. And that's a great shot.
Sure is, yeah. We finally got it to bend the way we needed it to. I think part of that was the right weight, not to overthrow it.
Yeah.
Very, very nice result. Still, the rock in the back is exposed to a soft weight shot, but
it probably rolled about a foot further than they wanted it to roll. Probably just keep it on biting the center line. Maybe not quite a foot, but keep it a little bit further over. So this shot became even a little bit more difficult. But Sarah Daniels now with the outturn freeze.
Yet again, we're looking at being really, really wide, at least to start with. It looks awfully, awfully wide. However, it is coming back.
Not going to get there, I don't think. It's in a good position, at least, for MacMillan.
Second shot.
An interesting call here for Fujisawa. Looking at the double peel. You could remove. The red one can be removed without losing any of your own. The problem is you're going to leave that exact same shot again.
I think you're right. It's a tricky situation. I think they are ultimately they're going to make a shot to remove red guards, give them a little bit more access. I suppose that you could hit the top red on the nose, get rid of the two red guards, and then you still have yours as a usable rock.
Yeah, lots of weight on this one. She will be making it. Wasn't positive she was going to get a piece of the back one, but she did. Got rid of all the guards, including her own thrown stone. So No, now without hammer, becomes a little more difficult figuring this one out, but I think she's going to try to make a double as well. Just off center on the outside of the stone would make this. Sarah Daniels showing some weight as well. This might gonna occur a little bit too much, or will she catch it? She will. Good shot. So a double, back-to-back doubles.
Oh, and here's a replay. You can see the drive down and the very nice weight that she used, which was, I think, an important part of the shot. It enabled them to throw it relatively straight. Still a little bit of sweeping required to make sure it stayed out enough and catch the angle rock and just push it out. I don't think it's actually out of play, but it's off of the rings.
The
Very,
ability
very
to throw
nice.
that up weight is a big deal. We're going to have another double here, so
Yep.
it's not a double city right now. We've got a
Back
3 in
to
a row.
back.
Yeah.
And now we have yellow sitting just at the top of the house, a very lonely rock, which is not covered. Which I guess Team MacMillan with Skip's rocks coming up. Now we just have Kayla to throw her 2 rocks. She has to contend with this rock and try to put her shooter somewhere interesting and challenging for Team Fujisawa to get. Hard to hide when there really isn't anywhere to hide, but at least to play the
situation. She can roll towards the corner, but I don't know if she can get the rock to hang on the corner. She'd have to have the benefit of some pretty fancy spinning of the stone to have it come in.
Yep. Well, first things first. Straightforward hit shot, maybe a little roll towards the center.
Yeah.
And then we'll see what happens.
Yeah, crucial to stay here. You don't want to have Fujisawa have an open draw behind that corner guard, and then you may well end up with a deuce against you. So stay first, roll second. You're not going to roll anyway. Should be good.
It'll be a little roll maybe, but not much. You're right. Now if Team Fujisawa hits this one right on the nose, it won't be in the rings. So I'll have to make sure that they roll a little bit in order to get onto the rings.
Yeah, they're giving some serious thought to not hitting this at all.
Or using it as a guard.
Yeah, using it, coming around the corner, coming around it, either one of those. I think by the time they're all said and done, we'll hit that one, but they're at least considering the possibility of not doing so right now. It's the 4th end. It's a good end to score. And if you were to get forced here, would it be the end of the world? Probably not. But I think the blank has got to be a little more appealing than trying to make 2 out of nothing here.
Yeah, based on their movement in the house, I'm having trouble deciding what it is that they're thinking.
I think
hit and roll?
Well, I think they've called a couple of different shots at times here. So I'm sure a minute ago when Satsuki looked at playing the shot just before this, she looked like she was definitely going to play the draw around this one, but courage has waned a little bit, and she's going to play the hit. I think this is the right call here. I think you could get 2 by going around there, but you might only get 1. And are you in trouble if you get forced to 1 here in the 4th? Certainly not, but I think keeping the hammer would be a better option.
Well, I like the idea of being shot rock. And if you make this shot and you don't doesn't overcurl on you, then you will be shot, and that's not a lot of places to hide. I suppose you could roll way over and kind of hide under the guards, but now the tricky part here for Team MacMillan is that they have to remove this yellow, but they also have to roll in. Otherwise, there's an open opportunity for a blank.
Yeah, certainly. I think there's, like we say, though, there's not much question in my mind here that you're going to hit it. It's just a matter of getting that roll. I think you get the roll to the left on the long view as we look at it here. fairly easily, but she's not taking much ice, so she's throwing pretty firm, which is good for making a roll, but if you hit it on the nose, doesn't matter what weight you throw, you're not going to roll it. So.
That's right. Absolutely.
Gotta give me one of these coats like Kayla wears, though, because it's obviously a warm coat, but it's not bulky by any stretch. So I would have to take my coat off if I was going to throw.
Here we go. So hit and roll. Hit first, as you say. Hit first, roll second.
It's coming up quite a bit. May not get the roll. Will she get that? No. Well, the odds were pretty good that it was going to end up in a blank anyway, so no big deal for Kayla, but you would have liked to make Satsuki decide to have to roll on this, but as it is, we will have a throw through here in a minute.
Yep. Just throwing the rock away and maintaining the hammer after the break.
And we will have a second out of 4 ends, second blank end. Would have not guessed that. But full points for that one.
Yep. There we go.
Yeah. So we remain tied here as we go to the 4th end break at the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown. Brought to you by Curling Stadium out of Swift Current, Saskatchewan. We'll be back right after the break.
Hey Ben, what's the Aztec Safety online e-learning website again?
Yeah, that would be aztecsafety.com.
Fire extinguisher and firefighting, we'll send that one to Paul.
Ah, now here's a course I should probably take. Conflict resolution.
Power line safety. Yeah, I thought it might help me with my line calls. Did you know this Aztec website has over 100 safety courses?
Jeez. Aztec Safety online course. Ground disturbance. Could have used that a few seconds ago.
For over 20 years, the Sandra Schmirler Foundation has granted more than $9 million to hospitals across Canada for life-saving equipment for premature and critically ill babies. In the past 4 years alone, $4 million has been granted thanks to the curling community's incredible generosity. The need continues year-round, and with your help, we can ensure every baby has the chance to grow up and become a champion, just like Sandra.
We asked Saskatchewan what they know about 5G.
More speed, more innovation.
It's going to make our lives a whole heck of a lot easier.
This is what 5G looks like.
Better, faster.
Sounds like one more G. Sounds pretty good.
I don't know what it means.
All you really need to know is the future of 5G is here and will continue improving through investments in network technology.
Screen to full screen, I don't see it anymore, so I have to.
So we're back after a relatively short 4th end break. You never know. Some events they take a little longer. Sometimes it's just left to the teams to decide how long they want to break, and these guys just went along a normal break. So obviously we're 3 rock, 3rd rock going in here. And coming up short. I think we've been saying that a lot tonight.
Mm-hmm. Well, the rocks are, it's a combination. I suppose it's a combination of over curl and coming up short. But I think when you take obviously they're getting caught because if the weight's down and we're not quite getting to where we want to go, it starts to curl and it just really goes on them. So we just clipped that very nice center line guard, and it's giving Team Fujisawa something to think about, because with those two guards there, they have some big opportunities in terms of where they can put this next rock. Second rock for their lead, Yurika Yoshida.
Going to the wings. T-line or better. T-line or a little bit beyond would be fine. Don't see this call very often, but it probably could be used more than when it does get used, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a relatively new tactic, but it's got merit, and in fact, it oftentimes ends up being a rock that just sort of hangs around for most of the end and comes into play later on. So I really like it. It's something I've been trying to incorporate into my own team's play when you have the chance. It's not every end, but it's an interesting tactic. So now I think we're just coming around the guard. We're ignoring the two yellow rocks and just trying to throw a really nice draw into the forefoot.
Well, Kayla MacMillan Force would have had a hard time doing anything with that one. This one's going to be on the guard as well.
Alrighty. Well, it did strangely open up a bit of a hole that can be used to access the rock that's sitting in the top of the forefoot. I think Team Fujisawa has no choice but to do something about that, to either guard or to move some rocks around so that they're not as vulnerable.
Yeah, could easily get the two if you wanted to play. You could easily get the two reds that are touching each other. This is a totally different approach, this shot. This is looking at a tap back or draw / tap.
Yeah, just trying to play it so that it actually it has the potential to add a point, but also makes it accessing the forefoot a little bit more challenging.
Yeah, I don't know with hammer here if this is a good idea or a bad idea. I think it's, at some point you're going to have too many rocks there, and it's, you might be regretting not just peeling those two off the top. I know you're going to open up your shot rock, but with hammer right now, this is not the way. I don't think this is the way you really like to see this end go.
Well, it's very aggressive, showing a lot of confidence, both in the shooter and in the fact that they're going to produce more opportunities for themselves. I never shy away from a team that plays aggressive. I think it's a nice tactic, but you have to make these shots with precision. So this is the key here on this one, getting it in just the right spot.
Suzuki with her final shot here in the fifth end. Just going to try to make it curl here. Has to curl a lot to get off that outside guard, and that's not going to happen. That for a little more protection to a rock in the house, but
an interesting result on a shot that was clearly thrown outside the broom. Now Kayla has to really work hard to figure out what her best move is. I think she would love to get rid of some of these guards, but how can she do that? Can she run one of them straight back?
Well, the one in the middle, I think if you just hit it on the nose, just off nose probably. If you're going to go intern, just curl just past the nose, and you run it straight back, and it'll be right there buried. So,
yep.
And if you hit it before you touch anything else, that's almost the only thing that can happen. So, we'll see how she gets along here, but good opportunity, I think, here for Daniels to. Well, we're not dead Daniels yet. Lindsay DeBay. He's going to curl, I think, a little too much to make that shot.
Well, it's an interesting ricochet. Now we have 3 rocks in a row, all kind of protecting each other. Interesting.
Yeah, and you want to feel like Fujisawa's in a good position here, and she is, but it is a lot of rocks still around and a lot of potential for MacMillan to get one in somewhere that could cause you some grief, but
Well, broom is down for a nice draw. Curling over to the nose of the one that's already there and tapping it back a foot or two wouldn't be a bad thing, but it has to curl the right amount.
yeah, you just got to get to the face of it if you can, because if you don't, you could very well leave some kind of a double.
Mm-hmm.
Suzuki's final stone here in the 5th. This looks like this could be very good. It's pretty good.
Pretty darn good shot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could say that in theory there's a double there. I think Kayla's looking at the idea of running the higher rocks back into the pile at this point. She's got to move some rocks around and open some things up. So
yeah, the good thing about this one is that she could end up with her own somewhere in the rings at least, and probably will, if she is, probably will be behind something. So this is Sarah Daniels. This could be close.
Wow.
Almost took everything out. Well, I have to be honest, I'm pretty sure that they never considered they would end up quite that good after that shot.
3 yellows gone. Here comes the replay. The weight is very, very good, and it really had to connect just perfectly with the yellow to get all of this damage. And that extra bonus on the one on the back, in the back 8 or 12 foot, probably was not expected or even imagined. Good for them.
Yeah.
So now we still have the Fujisawa team still has line 1, but they don't have any guards, so they need to either tuck one behind the guards or put up a guard for their own rock.
Yeah, definitely going to go around the corner here if you're Fujisawa. It's with hammer, you're not going to want to be going back to the center anymore. I don't think this is sort of, even though it got rid of a couple of your rocks, it's probably simplified this end a little bit for you. As long as they buy both these corner guards, that's going to be a great shot. If it stops, they'd like it to stop.
Yeah, in front of the tee line, buried, and Team Fujisawa with hammer is now line 2.
MacMillan with a little bit of a dilemma here. Do you hit the shot rock, or do you try to come down around and sit on the corner of the yellow, perhaps, to try to take away the deuce?
I think you've got to eliminate a yellow. That would be my thinking, at least at this point. And yeah, you probably have trouble hiding, but see.
Yeah, I think you're right. It is unfortunate because you're sort of playing to give up 2 here now, and you may not have a choice.
Oof.
It's probably going to roll out, and it will. That's tough because Fujisawa might say, let's try to get 3 now.
Right. They may
one dot ahead of ourselves for anybody looking at the rocks on the scoreboard. We are one dot ahead of where we really are, so fooled me for half a minute. We're still going to be at Shinami Yoshida's last shot here in the end.
Mm-hmm. It's been corrected now.
Yeah.
So it looks like she's talking about splitting the house, but now there's a conversation going on, which I guess is second guessing the.
Yeah, I think a lot of the top teams would go behind the corner here. I'm being myself, I would probably go to the open side and feel like that's a safer bet for me, but I think that the top teams are going around that corner all day, as they say, just to...
Yep, and you have the same curler in the hack who threw the last one to that lovely buried position, so just ask her to do the same thing twice.
Well, the last time they went by these guards, the corners by nothing almost, just by an inch or inch and a half. This time by a lot more. But we still didn't get to the same place.
They've committed to try and sweep it by.
Yeah.
Now it's got to sit.
And will it? It will hang on at the back. So definitely not where they wanted to be, but maybe not a horrible outcome. Kayla MacMillan's looking at the back one, sort of indicating, I guess, that if we go by, we go to the second one and we don't give up a deuce, or we don't give up 3 at least. But I think you've got to be thinking of a freeze on the one near the tee line.
Yep. Yeah, she wants to be shot and force Satsuki to hit something, but it needs to curl underneath and get a little bit hidden behind those guards. Shot's there. It's definitely a possibility, but it's not an easy one. It's really going to take exactly the right line and weight. See how we can do here. This is pretty important because if she's not careful, she could set herself up to give up a big end.
I was just confirming the weight. I've got for anybody that does hog dog speeds, I kind of have it somewhere around 14.7, 14.8 maybe. Timed a couple, but they didn't end up exactly where I wanted them for my clock attendant. So Kayla MacMillan now really needs to lock this on. Try to prevent not giving up more than a single here is what she hopes to do.
Well, sweepers like to wait. It was a question of the line, the curl. It's going to go at least to the tee line. Oh, not bad.
No, a heck of a try. Perfect, absolutely perfect weight. Just didn't get quite the curl that she was looking for. So removable for Fujisawa here, and if she does, she will probably roll a little bit to the center where she just indicated with the broom, and that would probably put Kayla MacMillan into kind of a world of hurt as far as thinking about what to do in the next shot.
It's fairly straightforward, but she's left herself, I say, about a half a rocket, so it's definitely open and available. Have to be careful not to overthrow this. Just let the curling, let the ice help you.
Fujisawa with her first in the fifth here. She's a little tight, maybe. A little tight and a little light. She's going to hard press to get this by. I don't think they're going to get it by, and they will not. So can she roll it onto the rings? She will not do that either. So not a very good shot for Satsuki Fujisawa. She's a pretty talented curler, and that was not a very good effort at that one, to be honest. Just never really had much of a chance out of her hand. She was a little tight getting out, and probably a little late as well.
Alrighty.
So break for MacMillan, though. She has a chance now to maybe force or even possibly steal one. The outturn draw path is not looking great right now, depending on where MacMillan puts this rock.
Do you have any thoughts about splitting the house as opposed to coming over and pairing up your shots? I just worry about the idea that she could leave a double, which could ultimately end up costing. But
yeah, definitely be an option for sure. I think again, since it's, as we said before, I think because she's thrown this one just a minute ago, that it's not a bad shot either. You can be top 12 foot and feel pretty good about it because she's probably not going to run you back. Or you could come right in and sit on the yellow and you'd be in pretty good shape too. You could sit 2 there, and that would be really difficult for Fujisawa to get it out. But we'll see what happens and see where she's actually trying to play it. Looks maybe by the broom position now, looking to corner freeze the yellow. A little bump doesn't kill her. We just don't want too much of a bump.
Well,
I think
it's
it's
not.
pretty good.
It's not a bad shot.
Yeah.
Is there a double there? Hard to tell.
I think it would be really hard. I think you'd have to hit the yellow. You're going to have to hit the red hard and touch the yellow. Probably touch it solidly, I think, to maybe get it to go all the way out and across like that.
Yep. She has to somehow try and get inside the nose, which is a tough shot.
It is. Kayla MacMillan sort of smelled blood on that one and threw a really good shot. That's a pretty good position. Perfect whirl, I suppose. 3 inches lighter and 1 more or 2 more inches of curl would be perfect. Still be shot and would not have to worry at all about a possible double, but I don't think she can make the double. I think she's going to either draw for 1 here or she's going to play the hit and take a chance of giving up 1. So it looks like the draw, I think, is coming. I'm still not 100% sure.
Well, there's definitely they're throwing the in-turn, so there's going to be a lot of weight. And if she can hit just off nose, there's a chance. And that's, well, I'm not even sure whether the one running back, the one rock coming back won't eliminate the yellow in the back 12. I was going to say this is a shot for 3, but
I think it's a draw.
Oh, you're right. Based on what the broom is, I thought maybe they were trying it, but you're right.
Well, I think it's the same broom for both shots. Yeah, that's why I only said the draw, because I got to see her start the delivery, and I thought she's not throwing it very hard. And they've got to go hard on this. That's still a long way to go.
Full 4 foot. You're good.
Never any doubt. Should never doubt those sweepers. So, very nice throw by Satsuki. Satsuki Fujisawa, and she will score 1, take a 2-1 lead after 5 ends of play here at the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown.
So with the impact to my business and income, will this delay my retirement?
I know you're worried, Marshall, but based on the original plan we came up with, you're only about 6 months behind.
I thought it would be years, not months.
You should feel good. Remember, you've got a plan.
Thanks.
With change comes questions. See the impact of your money decisions before you make them with RBC Wealth Plan.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's Ice Pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best brew in the game. Hardline. Join the revolution.
We're back. So as we get started here in the 6th end, just a reminder that we will be here for every draw and every game in the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown here in Swift Current on Curling Stadium on the YouTube channel. You can find all the draws, many of which will have commentators. Some won't, but you will get a chance to see your favorite team in action, that's for sure. So feel free to take that in. Join us on the chat as well. And be sure to like and subscribe to our channel. That helps us out a lot as we endeavor to bring you curling across the country. here on Curling Zone and Curling Stadium.
Yeah, there are lots of great teams in this event. You know, there's not a lot of games where you are going to look and say, I don't recognize the names of the curlers. Who are these people? Like there's a lot of familiar names, a lot of very accomplished curlers out here. So it's a really great opportunity to see some great games.
So Fujisawa with the early guard. Corner guard went up by Millen. Won't they come around on the center guard for Fujisawa's lead, Yoshida. And comes up a little bit light, but biting the house, half in that 12-foot. So now Sarah Locum will be asked to come around the corner guard. Both those guards are a little long, I think. I kind of rate it, but if they don't come into our picture on the overhead, they're too long.
That's actually not a bad thought.
Well,
Yeah.
it's probably right on ice.
The overhead's quite generous, actually.
Yeah, it is compared to a lot, yes.
The Curling Stadium Europe coverage of the most recent mixed doubles qualifier, the world qualifier, was just held in Dumfries, Scotland, and they had the overhead view on a tiny little frame in the corner, and they had zeroed in so close to the house that it was basically a square frame, and they even cut off a little bit of each of the four kind of edges of the circles, so you couldn't even see the entire house. So it was crazy. You couldn't see if there was a guard or not, or where the guards were. In some cases, even if a rock was touching the house or not. So I appreciate this view. It's actually quite nice.
Yeah, I agree.
Alrighty.
So at the outturn draw coming here for second stone, Suzuki. Right around, down a sweeper at the moment. Not down one now. They just did the mixed double sing, jumped up and went sweep yourself.
Yep. So lots of body weight over the broom, right up on her toes. Everything she can to help.
Ooh, got that to a pretty good spot.
Yeah, it's not the first time we've seen rocks in a line, all kind of staggered.
A funny quick little story while they were doing this. So we were watching the other day on TV. It had recorded Jeopardy, the UK version. So one show, and it was on, and we watched it just to see what it was like. And they had two questions on there that were to do with curling, which was kind of surprising to me coming out of Great Britain. So on one panel, I don't know if I've seen two curling questions on 197 episodes of Jeopardy that my wife watches every single day. So,
yeah, it's true. I don't know. I think I've probably seen one at some point, but it's quite rare. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. If there's a category about Canadiana or something like that, then you might be.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah.
Questions about geese and questions about curling and maple syrup and things like that. So, yeah. But this is an interesting little setup, and definitely a little bit of pressure on Team MacMillan. They need to make sure they take a little bit of control over. Yeah, I think Kayla's going to play it safe and just peel the guard. There's a lot of ways this shot can backfire. So
I think that's definitely the right choice here. She's actually playing this with must be just like a split kind of weight, as opposed to a full blown peel. She's got 2 feet of ice. Trying to make sure she keeps a guard on the corner rock, the rock at the back of the house, but this makes it a much tougher shot. Looks like they're going to do a good job with it. Well, I don't know though. It looks like pretty much the same outcome you would have got if you just had peeled it normally.
I agree. Yeah.
A lot less worried. Anyway.
Things went a little bit wider than I think they had anticipated. Yeah. Alrighty. Well, a lot of options here for Team Fujisawa. So is it called to come into the house? Top 4?
Don't really know. It's kind of just keeps showing us that rock, so I assume it would be an out-turn draw around top of the 4 foot, but I'm not really positive. I think it has to be.
Yeah, this would be a really nice end for Team Fujisawa to score, to steal, and Team MacMillan would have to retain the hammer in 7, and then if Team Fujisawa could force them to take 1 and come home with the hammer in 8, that would be a really, really nice result. So I think they're really looking at ways to push hard for that kind of a result. A long guard, or longish guard, and hasn't quite curled enough to cover the rock at the top of the 12 foot. They have a nice hit and roll option here, so.
Yeah, I think the 6th end is just a key end for most curling games for people. In most 8-end curling games for people here, you have a situation for Fujisawa where she can be in a great position by stealing 1, and MacMillan on the other hand, really needs to score to make sure that she still retains the hammer and the even ends in a tie game kind of thing, which would be, on paper, she would have control over the rest of the game. There's a shot. Now that's a shot kind of like what they were playing with the peel, but I don't think you needed to play it with the peel, but that was a dandy.
Absolutely. Yeah, the position of the rocks now, I mean, red is actually they're sitting in a pretty good spot, 2nd and 3rd shot. So if Team Fujisawa isn't careful and they leave themselves vulnerable, and red could really take control of this end. So this is an important shot. They need their potential is there. They have still got I guess you would say the control, but they have to make sure this rock ends up in the right spot. They should be 2nd shot and hopefully in a position where they're offering some kind of protection. So top 8, maybe even biting the top 4 foot, right in front essentially of their rock would be ideal, behind the guard. So we'll see how she does with this.
Yeah, the previous shot was a little bit interesting. They ended up with a long guard. I'm not sure if that's what they were trying to do, but certainly a little change now. So this one's coming in decently. It needs to curl a lot.
They're turning it into a freeze. Not even a freeze, it even bumped. Oof.
Yeah, quite a bit heavy.
Yeah, definitely heavy. So now it's double worth playing, or even hit and roll.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think she'll play the double. I think she will play some sort of a hit and roll. I know she needs to move both those rocks to bring the reds into play. Let her to activate them. Last week we heard a couple weeks ago, whenever it was, in terms of activating those rocks, which I thought was kind of interesting. But the only way to do that right now is to make the really thin double. I don't know if that's really what you want. This looks like a nose hit, or maybe a little bit inside flop. No.
Alrighty, so that was an opportunity that could have turned out a little bit better. So now we need to see a lovely little hit and roll. Make sure that they hide their shooter underneath cover. This is important. The line is going to be really key here.
Yeah, I think that's the roll is kind of key to both teams right now. Because now if she hits this on the nose, it's going to be high enough that it's more realistic for MacMillan to definitely play the double then.
Yep, absolutely.
She could also roll this away. There's nothing really wrong with rolling over there. You just got to get it over far enough that you don't leave an easy double.
All right. Well, this is Chinami Yoshida, and she's got a lovely looking line coming down. It needs to curl a little bit more, and then a little roll. Not bad at all. Hands go up from her teammates. It is a little bit exposed on the other side, or at least exposed to a run back, but at least they're comfortably lying 2 right now and on undercover. So there's a pocket if Kayla MacMillan's team is feeling confident enough to throw it down and snuggle into that little two rock pocket of yellows. Be awfully hard to remove.
Yeah, a bit of a dilemma here for the MacMillan team for sure. How do you do this? And certainly the run back double would be a great shot. You would probably leave. I mean, you don't have to, but you would probably leave your shooter almost on the nose of that yellow, and maybe leave one yellow in the back. But everything else would be gone. It's just coming with some serious takeout weight.
Yeah. So this is an attempt at a run back double or even triple.
Really, really close.
Boom. All right, one yellow removed. Shot rock still belonging to Team Fujisawa. And they have an opportunity essentially to put that rock back.
Yeah.
The one that they had a little bit too much roll.
Yeah, she threw it with some real heat. So Fujisawa now play the intern come around, or I believe so. Every now and then they wave the brooms around places where I'm not sure what they're doing. We'd really love to have one little mic somewhere out there to, well, I guess, and now that we have maybe you to translate most of it.
Yeah.
And the mic wouldn't really help us very much unless it's with the Canadian teams, but
yeah.
I don't know how much it costs to have a translator, but I often thought in the slam events and world events that if they could find somebody and hire somebody to be a translator to a point for like the worlds and the slams, that would be a great investment.
Well, I'm a very lucky guy. I've managed to spend time in a few other countries and gotten involved with some curling in other countries. And the interesting thing is that they learn the sport in English. And so they know a lot of the terms and they'll still use them, which is nice because then if you'll hear them talking, whatever language they're talking about, words like 12 foot or tee or things like that, freeze, they'll come into the conversation so you know what they're talking about. This is a lovely little draw. Managed to curl it right underneath the guard for second shot. And I don't know if there's any double there unless they try it as a run back, but that's a long run back. So I think that's a mission accomplished for that shot.
Yeah, you're right about the length of the run back. You can see on the overhead view there's probably, I don't know what that is, probably 8, 12, probably 12, 15 feet, something like that run back. And if you could ever do it and make it good, even if you didn't get everything out, if you remove 2 yellows, you'd be in great shape. But I just think it's really, really hard.
So it looks like we're playing a little hit and roll here. Get rid of a yellow and roll over into the pack of your own rocks. She does have hammer. So, I mean, in theory, at least, she's trying to set it up so that if they get a chance, they could have a big end. But right now, Team Fujisawa is keeping Kayla under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I think this is a big shot. Even if you curl a little bit more than that and stay somewhere handy where that rock is, but remove 1 yellow stone, could create a little bit of trouble for Fujisawa, and possibly she could make a mistake that would give you a chance at 2. It would keep you at least with a fairly easy shot for the 1 at least. As we said, the 6th end it's a big end to score in a tight game. Kayla MacMillan, little intern takeout, but not a very heavyweight takeout.
Mine is looking great. Get by the guard.
Not going to get by the guard, I don't think. I think it just curled on them. Curled more than they expected to have happen that early. It did go pretty early.
So, Team Fujisawa is confronted with a relatively interesting question now. Do they regard that situation that she just has, or throw something on the other side of the house and split things up so that the very best that Team MacMillan can hope for is a single?
Yeah, I think a lot of teams would consider throwing a draw here, coming right around and just making sure they didn't give up anything big. But I had no doubt in my mind that Fujisawa would guard this. She just plays that way. And really, it's nothing really wrong with playing it this way for sure, because you just played basically this shot. You're sitting 2. You know, if you go to the other side of the house or go somewhere in the house other than guarding this, you're really just playing to give up 1. And I think there's a great opportunity. So make a decent guard at all here, and you're going to be no worse than giving up a single.
Right. Yeah, it looks as if she's just trying to replace the rock that was removed.
You just don't be narrow in this, because the sweepers can take it a mile, but they can't take it if it over curls.
That's right. Needs to curl a bunch.
It does. Still needs to curl a bunch.
Well, look at this. It's coming over. Good sweeping.
A little hopscotch step there with the sweeping, and I never know if that works great or not, but it's interesting. I've seen it 3 or 4 times over the last couple of weeks, so with different people. That's a very good shot. Very good guard. Really take any consideration of a double away. Really forces Kayla MacMillan to either draw the button or play the same little shot she just tried to play. There's a small indication of coming off the other one. I don't really get that. She's going to throw an out turn this time.
Yeah, if there is any daylight on the option, it's that side.
Yeah, and you have a little bit more room going this way than on the in turn.
All right. Well, this is a pretty important point. You don't want to give up a steal here and carry the hammer into N7.
Yeah, the only thing concerns me here for MacMillan is the guard that's out there is so high, and you're having to take ice that puts you outside of that rock. So when you're throwing it, you're probably going to see air on the outside of that rock. That's just. And it doesn't really break hard till it gets close to the hog line. So I'd just be a little concerned about this rock curling enough here. Off the guard, to get off the guard. But it could be very wrong, but I'd be worried about it.
Okay. Well, here's Kayla with her final shot of the end. We're in 6, and this is a critical shot. Needs to bring it to the tee line.
Well, she's well past the rock that I was worried about, so that's good. Looks pretty good. Sweeper's not really doing much. She just can't afford to
looks great.
She's maybe a little bit warm, but no, just a perfect shot for Kayla MacMillan here in 6.
Really nice shot.
Yeah, for sure. She'll pick up her single, and we will be tied at 2 after 6 ends of play here with the RBC, Dominion Securities Western Showdown in Swift Current at the Swift Current Curling Club. We'll take a short break and be back for end number 7.
We asked Saskatchewan what they know about 5G.
More speed, more innovation.
It's going to make our lives a whole heck of a lot easier.
This is what 5G looks like.
Better, faster.
Sounds like 1 more G. Sounds pretty good.
I don't know what it means.
All you really need to know is the future of 5G is here and will continue improving through investments in network technology.
Hey Ben, what's the Aztec Safety online e-learning website again?
Yeah, that would be aztecsafety.com.
Fire extinguisher and firefighting, we'll send that one to Paul.
Ah, now here's a course I should probably take. Conflict resolution.
Power line safety. Yeah, I thought it might help me with my line calls. Did you know this Aztec website has over 100 safety courses?
Jeez. Aztec Safety Online Course. Ground disturbance. Could have used that a few seconds ago.
So 2 to go here in Swift Current. We are tied at 2. Seems like a very low-scoring affair. It hasn't been quite as obviously low-scoring as it seems. I think there's been a little more action than a 2-2 sounds like, but
No, it's been pretty good, and thankfully the skips have come through in the clutch on a couple of shots that have kept the game nice and close.
absolutely. So Fujisawa with hammer this time. MacMillan has thrown up a center guard. Fujisawa comes around, and MacMillan now will throw up another center guard. So going all out here.
I try to generate a steal.
So we'll get to the center line, I think, with this one, and or very close. It does. So 2 very good rocks for Leadstone. Sarah Loken here in number 7. And Eureka Shoshida now will be asked to come around again.
Yeah, well, interestingly, we're stacking the center line guards, and instead of playing corners and keeping things to the outside in an attempt to make a deuce, Satsuki Fujisawa and her team with the yellow rocks are coming right after them down the center. So it's going to be interesting. If we can get another yellow rock in the house tucked in underneath these centerline guards, life is going to be very interesting. It looks like this one might be a little light. The sweepers worked really hard on that.
I was going to say you're right, but man, they took that a long ways.
Mm-hmm. And it's being ignored. Amazing. So here we have to, if you're going to make your centerline guards, then you got to come around and get underneath them in order to make them pay off. So this is a key shot. Kayla's second, Lindsay DeBay. Draw weight has been a bit of a mystery for both of these teams, so we'll see how this one turns out.
Well, that's definitely correct, that statement.
Well, very, very well managed by the sweepers on that one. Lovely shot. There is a run back, I think. Yeah, she's having a look because Satsuki's trying to decide if it's possible to hit the outside yellow and run it back into the red rock in the house, and she thinks not. So we're starting to remedy the guard situation with some peels.
Yeah, looking to make the double peel here. It goes back into the yellow, won't be the end of the world either. A ton of weight. Probably just going to get the top one.
Mm-hmm. And Kayla taking advantage of the break she's earned by trying to put another one underneath. Going all out for the steal here, so this is going to be very interesting. If Lindsay can do the same shot again, this is going to be a very interesting end.
So an eye guard here. It's been lined up in a Pretty nice line. Fujisawa would like to get more than just the top one here.
Yeah, a nice run back would be wonderful, but you don't want to leave anything in the center. Primary goal is to get center stuff out of there. So there, it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, it's tough. Difficulty here though is you will have to take a shot and make somewhere probably a double peel if you're ever going to bring any of those Yellowstones into play at all. A little bit offset this time, so perhaps a little bit more willing to take a shot at making that, although she's still going to try to hit it not too much off center.
Yep. This one has a chance to maybe even get the right angle and move some things around and open things up a little bit. Oh. Another peel
through the curl right now. They're just kind of either Satsuki's got to give them a little less ice, or they got to take a little off it. One of the two, if they're actually trying to make that double peel, which I have to believe they are. I just couldn't imagine they wouldn't be. I would think they would be looking
a moment to take a
guard again, but unless they feel differently about the possibility of making that angle raise takeout. Pretty lengthy discussion here for Team MacMillan.
They're asking themselves if they need to be afraid of the run back.
Yeah.
I think it's more than anything else. And if they are afraid, then they should guard, and if they're not afraid, then they should attack. I'm not sure they are agreeing with each other. That's the tricky part. So.
So they've opted for the same high guard that we've seen Fujisawa remove a couple of times already. Maybe not the exact same high guard. She does look like she chose to move it across a little bit. They might still be just a little bit afraid of that raise.
I think so. I mean, I don't think we can see from our viewpoint whether or not it's right it's lined up, or it's possible to run it back. But I think they're a little worried that if somebody tries and makes it, life could be very difficult. So this way they can cover a little bit.
Yeah. Jaiden, are you able to zoom that the overhead up a little bit? Maybe not. Sometimes we do get a little bit of a zoom view there. Just be curious, but that last peel attempt for Fujisawa wasn't a tremendous effort. Just kind of didn't really do a lot. Guarded the intern side again a little bit. Yeah, no, sorry, I'm thinking of the overhead there. It's okay. MacMillan now playing what looks to be a guard again on top of the yellow rays. Not on top, but in front of the yellow rays. Just a guard here.
Yeah, and I don't think they're concerned about getting it much beyond the hog line. Just it's more about the line from right to left than it is about the depth. So, oh my goodness, is this going to come up short? Oh my goodness.
I actually didn't think that was a guy. I thought they were just stopping because they were over the hog line at first.
Me too. Yeah. It's like, okay, we're good.
Yeah.
Oh dear. All right, well, here comes the big question again. Everybody's staring at these two rocks. I think somebody has to actually try it. I think that's the only way we're going to solve the mystery.
Yeah. I think if it was, you'd feel like if it was there, that they would be playing it just in a minute. There wouldn't even be any question.
Well, I don't think they can run it. I think that what they'd love to do is run it on an angle right onto the nose of the red, and I think that's not happening.
Probably not.
But they can still run it back enough to hit the red and remove it, and then they'll be shot rock. It won't be quite as, obviously top of the 12 foot is not a great spot to be shot rock, but at least they've removed the threat of the steel.
Yeah, exactly. And then Cailey would have to do it again. Now, maybe a couple of rocks ago, that was a better option than now. But if you don't draw now, the problem with if you don't draw now and you try that and that doesn't work, then it's Kayla would probably come right in again the next time and say, okay, well, now I've got two in there buried. A little risky, but definitely.
I think they're considering what they can do is if they play these two yellow rocks or the one on the outside and just sort of bump it forward rather than using it as a run back takeout. Just bump it in, and then they've opened up a world of possibilities on the last shot.
Yeah.
Here we are. We're talking about almost a split, and now and it also takes away Kayla's options with her last rock if they can pop a rock onto either side, blocking the access to the 4 foot. Well, we're going to find out, I think, finally, what possibilities there are with these two yellow rocks. It's been sitting there like that for most of the end, so it'll be great to finally see it.
Yeah, and I think you're right in that if she does try to just play this as a tap back, kind of get it in play, make sure you save everything here, that you could end up with a couple of race takeout options for the yellow team as long as you don't throw it too hard and roll everything away. And I don't think she would do that.
So we're coming down with I'm going to say backline weight, maybe hack.
Yeah, just a little more than backline for sure. She needs to curl. She's maybe, see in a minute. Whoa. It was close enough. It makes me wonder if it would have been a good idea to play that shot 2 or 3 rocks ago.
Yeah.
Rather than even.
Now a nice hit and roll. We could be in a world of hurt here for the yellow stones. We'll see if Kayla can take advantage of this opportunity now. What an opportunity for her.
Yeah, she could easily sit 2 here and with a virtual impossibility of Fujisawa scoring, never mind scoring 2.
But she has to make sure she doesn't leave herself exposed and
offer
up a double to score 2 for.
Yeah.
So goes both ways on this.
Yeah. It's where communication is so important between the sweepers and the individual in the house.
Okay, this is a team shot. It's to be well swept, well thrown, and the call has to be just right. It looks like it needs to curl. Oh, no, it's pretty good.
Very heavy though, so
pretty good.
Looks like
Need a roll. Need a roll. Need a roll. Well,
I think Fujisawa can get enough of it to perhaps give up a single. I don't think she can get enough of it to get the double. I don't think there's any question that would be very difficult.
There isn't a little.
She could go in turn 2.
Board weight to the nose. It can't get to the nose, I guess. It's pretty close. Or across the top double. A little tougher. If she's going to throw something, if she throws it really hard, she's trying to go across the top and split them off that way.
Yeah.
If she throws sort of a hack to board weight, she's trying to hit the nose and score 2. We'll know in a second.
Yeah, I don't think 2's there at all. I don't think there's any point. I think that my guess is with that ice, she's going to throw it a little bit firm and just be happy to give up 1. That's what I think anyways. Sweepers jump this hard.
I got to get by that guard. Oh no! Steal of 2.
That's a big miss for Fujisawa. And Kayla MacMillan will steal 2 here and end number 7 and take a 2-point lead to the 8th and potentially final end of this A Division game here at the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown. We'll be back after the break.
Stronger agronomics, better returns, greater peace of mind from pre-seed to post-harvest. You can count on the Victory Canola program to keep you.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
Sasktel Be Kind Online wants to stop cyberbullying. Want in on the action? we award up to $1,000 for youth initiatives that help spread kindness and prevent bullying. What great idea do you have to help stop bullying? Sasktel can help. Go to BeKindOnline.com and apply for a grant today. Together, we can make a difference.
So we're back for hand number 8. Here in a game to decide which team will be 2-0 and remain in the A division here in the event, and which team will have a loss and drop down to the B side. Right now, Fujisawa with Hammer, down 2, playing the 8th end. Has some work to do if they're going to manage to pull this one out. One corner guard up. 2 reds in the forefoot. Satsuki Fujisawa asking lead stone Hirika Yoshida to come around that corner. And set up probably double corners, I'm thinking.
Well, it looks like we're drawing behind.
Well, definitely going that way. I'm not sure.
You may be right. Yeah, it's I'd overestimated overestimated the weight. You're right about that. It's a nice double guard.
Yeah, I was only going by where she moved. As soon as she finished, let it go, she moved up there. So that's what I was thinking of. But and I haven't said a couple times over the last while, I'm just not 100% sold on the double guards on the same side yet. But somebody can probably convince me. If once I see them actually work a couple times, I'll feel more positive about it. But
it is a big price to pay to load one side, because you only have 8 rocks and you basically sacrifice 2 of them in an effort to give yourself a chance to generate it. At some point, you have to start taking advantage of them. So
I guess one of the key reasons that I've been given that made some sense to me was the fact that if you go both sides now with the amount of curl on the ice, sometimes you're making the draw path really difficult to get in there, and not just from one side, but from both sides. So that's made a little sense to me. But Fujisawa here now contemplating, where do I go here? Do I take a chance and go behind the corners? Or do I just go ahead and play this one at the top of the forefoot? Or you don't there, playing the run back.
Well, I think she's got to take advantage of the fact that this guard that was just thrown by Team MacMillan is actually over curled. So if she can get to the nose of the red rock in the top of the forefoot, it's a great opportunity, and it may not be their next shot. So I think they have to recognize that they need to take advantage of this. They can always just draw behind their own guards, but this is a chance. And eventually, hopefully, they'll draw behind their own guards. They did use 2 rocks to set that up, so they better take advantage of it at some point. But yeah,
it is a challenge with the way the game goes, and if you go in there now, and then what do you do if MacMillan decides to come around the red? That's just a lot of rocks to move. So I like the idea of coming around the red with a shot first, and maybe just bumping that rock back to the back of the forefoot somewhere in that neighborhood.
Yep.
I think would be a good call for now. You'd probably see MacMillan peel one of those corners after that, though. Second stone Suzuki. Looking for really just back 4, back 8 weight. A little bit heavier than planned, probably, but still a very good shot.
Yeah, well executed and definitely well swept. So working as a team, now they need to see if they can respond. Essentially, Team MacMillan's trying to do the exact same thing that they just saw.
Well, I think if MacMillan plays this and rolls a little bit to our left, her right, you might see then Fujisawa opt not to go after one of those and possibly come around the corners. Just be a little less danger than there was a minute ago. So, but she's going to get pretty close to the nose. But will it jam? Won't jam. Very good shot.
Yep. Now they're going to draw underneath the center guard, or they're going to use they have to. Or hit and roll.
So pointing all the spots that she can think of to draw to, doesn't seem to be quite sold on the hit and roll yet.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a go for broke mentality here. We have to have two. If it was earlier in the game, they might do one thing, but this is the final end. Must make two to stay alive.
Yeah, there's a lot to work with right now. Even the fact that MacMillan went after that and didn't peel the guard is made things a little muddy in the front.
Alrighty.
Suki now playing the in-turn draw. Trying to get just across the center line. Probably top 4 foot would be good. Top button would be okay.
Yeah, this is just a draw. Simple draw underneath the guard. They can come down and bite the button. That would be really nice.
Not getting a little rub off of this. Nope, no rub. It's on its own.
Not quite shot rock, but pretty.
Yeah, they could have actually taken that just a little bit further if they wanted to, and maybe got a little tiny bit more buried behind that guard, but. Sarah Daniels going after this one.
The line looks really good.
Getting to be a lot of red rocks in the way of scoring here. I think you're going to be forced to play a hit of some sort now, even if that's not really what you like to do.
Well, there's a run back double, and then you can at least sit shot whether or not you're going to be buried, and I think that's probably what they're going to try to do. But the other option is to just draw the other way and draw right into the button under the red rocks. But I think they've got to take some control in the top half of the house. So
yeah.
And
if you can hit and roll off the one that's almost on the 4 foot there, even if you don't roll, don't make a double, would be a better situation than what you have right now.
Yeah. This is a double, definitely.
Very close.
Yep. Oh.
Did get the roll.
Yeah, the roll's lovely. Just needed a tiniest bit of a piece of that back red. Good news is it's exposed, at least for the moment.
Yeah, it was interesting there. You could have possibly got just a smidge more and managed to peel that second one off the back there, but it's a tough call because if you curl 2 more inches or something, you might still make it, but you're going to roll wide open. So I think that was probably about as good as they could hope to make with 3 to come. Great job by our production team today in this one, and we had a lot of struggles earlier on with equipment just not operating properly. We had a lot of stops and starts and lost screens and everything, and they had to work pretty hard to get a pretty smooth looking production this time, and it's been A1. So
well, and also two nice views. You can see the house from above as the rocks are coming in, and you're also watching the deliveries take place. So we're getting to see the sweepers in action. Not too bad.
So we might see them in action right here as Sarah Daniels goes out to play a draw. Not sure where the final verdict was as to where they want this one to stop. Or if, in fact, she was perhaps playing just a guard.
Well, this has worked out very nicely. If that was supposed to be a guard, it was heavy, but now.
Well, again, I'm not positive the double's there, but I'm not positive it's not either. I would love to have known exactly where that was supposed to be, that rock.
It seems to me it would have been better if it was higher in the house, but.
Yeah. Might be able to make a double here if you can throw it light enough, and you might not get the rocks out of the house, but you at least maybe get them where you're sitting 1-2. Well, I like that shot right there.
If they come down, even if they come down and hit this red and then roll sort of a little bit to the side underneath the red
right now.
Yeah, right. I don't know if they'll be shot, but they open up the back, and they certainly have got yellow presence in the house, which is not a bad thing.
Well, I think you'd be getting Kayla a little bit nervous, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And got to make this one, though. Got to remove that rock, and you need to stay.
Yeah.
If nothing else.
The line looks good. Use the curl.
This is going to be very nice, I think. We'll look for maybe a little tiny bit more roll than that, but...
Well, it's shot rock.
It is, and there's no double. So the outturn hit coming from MacMillan. This would guarantee no worse than a tie here. Or would it yet? Maybe not yet. I guess you got to get rid of one more yet before there's a possibility of Fujisawa getting 3.
Alrighty. So we want to hit, and preferably a little roll underneath to lie 2. And that will make life very, very difficult for Team Fujisawa.
Should be okay with this.
It's really curling. Really, really terrific shot. Wonderful.
That's a good shot, yeah.
Wow. Well,
let's see it again.
Yep. Here's the replay, and it's really well managed by the sweepers. I worried a little bit that they sort of got off a little bit too early and were going to risk over curling, but it actually, I think, had enough weight to sustain that line really nicely and ended up in a really super spot. I think that the Team Fujisawa has to come after the in-off double.
I think you're right.
The only other option they have is to come through the hole and hit the back red, and I'm not sure they'll be shot if they do that. So this is an interesting little exercise. Yeah, they're throwing the out turn. So this is an attempt at a double. They're coming in off of the red.
Really, really close. Might curl
Oh,
this here
Super
too
is
much.
working hard. Okay.
It's just curled a little too much on them.
Hmm.
So it is going to be more difficult now.
Yeah. One rock left for each team. If red can find a way to eliminate possibilities to remove both of those shot stones, I don't know that Team Fujisawa with their yellow rocks will have any options. My sense is that if they come down and block access to the red rock where they're laying their broom, just a guard, I think that will make it very, very difficult, if not impossible, for yellow to score 2.
Yeah, I'm not sure that yellow can even make that. I think the only shot for yellow right now is the angle slash of the one that's just outside of the rings.
Or the raise from up in front. But again, it's a tricky double.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not really seeing that. I don't know which one you would mean by that, David. Not sure what.
The one that's tight to the center line, the long guard,
Okay.
running back, dead, just off nose, run back into the reds.
Reds, yeah.
A very difficult shot, but
Yeah.
in theory, if that's all you've got, that's all you've got. But first things first, she has to play a good guard here.
They will definitely have, unless she comes into a different place than she indicated, she will definitely have an opportunity to run the corner guard into the red zone. It would be for 3 if you ever made it. She might be trying to take that away, though. She may be trying to get a little bit inside of that one, which would do it. And they may also unintentionally take that away. And I think that's going to manage it.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, I don't know if it's there on the long one. Looks like I think she took the one away that I thought was a possibility.
No, I think she's thinking about hitting what she can see of the red in the top of the forefoot and trying to slash it across and bump and bump the other red out. But it's an awfully difficult shot. Not a lot of rock visible there.
No, I don't think she's playing that, to be honest. I think she's actually looking at running something into that, or playing a little tick off of the red one and make it that way. But there's definitely no shot with the other one. So this is a heck of a long angle raise double takeout for 3 and the win.
Right.
But don't get excited, because this is not going to be an easy shot.
Well, let's hope we have a replay. We have a need for a replay. Let's just see what happens.
Replay, yeah.
All right, final shot of the 8th end. They're not laying a brush to it. Here it comes. Bang, bang. Oh, well, not a bad try. One red.
Yeah.
And a 5-2 victory for Team MacMillan.
Yeah, so MacMillan does pick up one here in the last end and will, in fact, have a 5-2 win over Fujisawa. MacMillan goes to 2-0 and gets herself in a pretty good position in the A side draw. Fujisawa will drop down to B, where she'll have another opportunity in this triple knockout format. You have to lose 3 times before
she'll play Caitlin Laws tomorrow.
Laws?
Yeah.
Well, that's definitely not an easy one for sure, but there's not going to be a lot of easy ones this weekend. So for David Wales, myself, Jaiden, and Cailey in the production side, and as always, Jerry Gertz, we'd like to thank you for watching and invite you to join us for the rest of the weekend here at the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown in Swift Current, Saskatchewan, brought to you on Curling Stadium. And we are at the Swift Curling Club, Swift Curling Club, and we will see you again tomorrow.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks, team. Thanks, curlers. And to all our Japanese friends watching, oyasumi nasai.
What did that mean?
Good night.
Just good night? Okay. It just sounded long.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardlines Ice Pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best brew in the game. Hardline. Join the revolution.
You said it in English, so that's
Yeah.
great. Okay.
Okay, guys.
Well, I'm gonna sign off because my voice is just about cooked, and I have a game tomorrow. So,
Okay.
Jim, I really enjoyed working with you. Thanks a lot for
Yeah.
your support and you're taking the lead. Appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. Thank you. We'll hope maybe see you again sometime this weekend yet.
Cheers.
Okay, guys. Bye now.
Bye.
Hey, Jim, just a heads up.
Yeah.
Tomorrow morning, I had I switched some things around.
Okay.
Because I originally had some of the games wrong.
Oh, the stream is still going.